Hey folks, Adam here. It's been a few weeks. Sorry about that. Um, life has gotten in the way of posting these videos. What I want to talk about today, though, it's a pretty heavy topic. I'll warn you from the start, and it's something that I've shied away from talking about so far in this sort of new series of videos that I've done. And I think I'm doing a disservice to people. Okay, so by not talking about it. So what I want to talk about is that it gets better, right? I know that's a cliche in some sense nowadays, and certainly there's a lot of great resources for mental health. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. There's also great resources for suicide prevention, other, let's call them diversions that people use to make themselves feel better, whether it's escaping into drugs or alcohol or other things that might be there. But I think it's important that I'm honest about my challenges in the past. Not so much, thankfully, with mental health or certainly drug or alcohol abuse. That's just never been my thing. Um, but I've had moments because of what was going on in my life. I was very depressed. I guess that is kind of a mental health issue, although my depression, when I have had it, has been more situational than chemical, I would say. But I think it's important to realize that everyone's life has ups and downs. Right now I have a wonderful job that I love. I'm living in a great apartment, even though I'm not going to show it all on camera because I'm not good at that sort of stuff. Here in Rhode Island, I will have another great apartment when I move to Arizona. I've got a girlfriend who I believe is the woman, hopefully, knock on wood, that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. I've got a wonderful family. I've talked about them already somewhat. So I've got this amazing dog over here who's busy playing with his tennis balls right now and can't be bothered to appear in the video. So I've got a lot going on that's really wonderful, and for that I am immensely grateful. But it hasn't always been that way. I talked about the long periods of unemployment that I had. I have a disability, and getting to a place of acceptance as a kid, getting to a place of acceptance in my early 20s, accepting that women were going to see me differently, accepting my limitations, all of those things, and all the challenges, not because of my disability, but because of the world's reaction to my disability, really took a toll on me emotionally many times. I had days where I couldn't get out of my room because I was crying. Okay. I haven't had those, thankfully, in a while, because life is amazing right now, and I can't be anything other than grateful. But I also have to be grateful for those hard times. And in the moment, I know that's next to impossible to say, right? I am grateful for the suffering, for the pain, for the hurt, for the whatever it is that I'm going through. But I think you have to try to find an appreciation for those challenges, because there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. And in the moment, if you don't remember that, it can lead to some really bad consequences. It can lead to finding the escape hatch that is drug or alcohol abuse. It can lead to the escape hatch that is, God forbid, suicide. It does get better, and it will always get better, because you have people who love you. You have a support system. You have to have love for yourself and respect for yourself and recognize your value and your worth. And I know that for people with disabilities in particular, sometimes that can be a challenge when you look at the job market, or when you look at the way the world is not built for many people with many different disabilities. I remember a little over a year ago, Stephen Hawking passed away. Great, brilliant physicist who happened to have ALS and have, be in a wheelchair and not be able to speak with his own, vocal cords, but had to use a computer. Well, when he passed away, some celebrities and other folks certainly mourned his passing, as you would hope someone would. But they did it by, showing images, for example, of an empty wheelchair and saying, now he's free. And it implied to me and to others in the disability community in particular that the wheelchair was his prison. And that's such a upside down way of looking at it. In reality, the wheelchair was what gave him freedom to be mobile, to be independent, to have as much of a life as somebody with his challenges could, right? And so it bothered me. It bothered a lot of people that people would characterize leaving the wheelchair and not needing the wheelchair anymore because you're dead as freedom. Every person I know with a disability, regardless of what that disability is, would choose life with a disability over death without it every day. And especially if you're somebody who's acquired your disability later in life, I'm sure that can be particularly challenging, right? To lose your sight or your hearing or your mobility, whatever it might be, later in life, to deal with the emotion and the pain around that and the sudden loss. And you do have to grieve for the loss of whatever sense or limb or whatever it might be. But it gets better. You'll adapt, you'll find ways to deal with it. And the adaptations, whether that's a wheelchair or Braille or cochlear implants, or if cochlear implants aren't available, learning sign language, those are a blessing and an opportunity and freedom. They are not a burden. They are not constraining you. They are giving you the freedom to be independent and have your best life with your disability. So it's really important to me, and I can't go into why, but there are reasons that I'm particularly thinking about this right now. It's important to me that you know, whatever your challenge is, whether it's disability, whether it's employment, whatever it might be in your life today, that is pushing you to things that are going to harm you, it gets better. And I know that's cliche, and I know that it sounds cliche even while I'm saying it, but that doesn't mean it's not true. And it does get better. So fight for yourself, fight for the people around you who love you, even if you haven't talked with them in years or weeks or seen them, figure out a way to have those connections, figure out a way to recognize within yourself that whatever you're dealing with today, you don't have to be dealing with in a year or 5 years or 10 years or 40 years. It will get better. You will have the kind of opportunity to celebrate your life and to be proud of everything that you've accomplished if you move through today knowing that tomorrow can be better. So, again, I want to reiterate, and this is true for people with physical disabilities, with any kind of obstacle, as we've talked about before. Disability is just a synonym for obstacle. So it's true for everyone who's viewing this video. Your life is what you choose to make of it. And you have to find those opportunities to celebrate the small victories so you can get to the big victories. Just because it's not where you want to be today doesn't mean that you can't have a better tomorrow, and you will if you stick it out, treat yourself and the people around you with love and respect. You will get there. I promise you. I am living proof of it.